Imagine walking down a dimly lit corridor in 1498 Seville, the air thick with the stench of eternal dampness and despair. You're Diego Alvarez, a simple merchant with a loving family, arrested without warning because a neighbor whispered secrets about your Friday candles. No charges, no evidence, just the cold grip of the Spanish Inquisition. Ahead lies a chamber of horrors, where faith turns into fire and screams echo for salvation. But what awaits isn't random brutality, it's a calculated symphony of suffering, 8 methods escalating from soul-crushing shame to body-shattering agony. By the end, you'll see why these tortures weren't just medieval madness, they're a blueprint for institutional evil that haunts us still. Buckle up, this is worse than you can imagine. The year is 1498, and Seville buzzes with the fervor of the Spanish Inquisition. In the Castillo de San Jorge, a fortress turned into a nightmare, Diego Alvarez is dragged underground. He's 34, a cloth merchant with a wife, Isabel, and 2 young daughters. This morning, he kissed them goodbye, promising to return by dusk. But a neighbor's tip, candles on Fridays, no pork, a specific butcher, branded him a Judaizer, a secret Jew hiding behind Christian baptism. The Inquisition thrives on anonymity, accusers stay hidden, motives murky, piety or payback for an unpaid debt? Diego knows nothing of the charges. No trial, no defense. Just a guard's torch flickering on sweating stone walls, and a distant, guttural sound that chills the soul, human agony. The corridor narrows, the air grows heavier with blood and fear. The guard halts at an iron-bound door. Inside, a Dominican friar in black robes stands calmly, flanked by a brute in a leather apron. The Holy Office seeks truth, the friar intones, his voice almost paternal. Confess, name others, and find mercy. Diego protests his innocence, he's a faithful Christian. The friar nods, signaling the start. This isn't chaos, it's precision. The Inquisition didn't invent torture but perfected it into a science, supervised by physicians, documented meticulously. 8 methods await, each worse than the last, designed to break body and spirit without immediate death. Confession is the goal, truth optional. As the door creaks shut, Diego's world ends. His family waits in vain. This is the Inquisition's grip, fear that silences communities, destroys lives. The first method strikes before any blade or flame, the San Benito, a yellow tunic painted with flames and demons, marking the wearer as a heretic. Diego is forced into it and paraded in an auto da fe, a public act of faith. The entire city must attend, neighbors, friends, even children. Crowds line the streets, jeering as Diego marches in shame, his head bowed under the weight of disgrace. This isn't just clothing, it's identity annihilation. His business crumbles, his daughter's future's tainted. The tunic hangs forever in the church, inscribed with his name, cursing generations. No blood spills, but the pain is profound. The Inquisition knew psychology, public humiliation crushes the spirit deeper than physical blows. Many confess here, desperate to escape the stares of disgust. Diego endures, whispering prayers, but the seed of doubt plants, how much more can he take? Flogging follows for the resilient. Stripped to the waist, bound to a post, Diego faces the whip. Leather lashes tear skin after a few strokes, exposing muscle and a spray of blood. Dozens, sometimes hundreds of blows, each a fire across his back. It's mild by their standards, a preview of horrors. The pain is raw, immediate, but it's the message that lingers, this is just the beginning. Confess now, or face escalation. Diego gasps denials through gritted teeth, his body a canvas of welts. The friar watches, unmoved. Unbroken by flogging, Diego meets the heretic's fork, a simple metal rod with prongs at both ends, strapped around his neck. One set digs under his chin, the other into his breastbone. Bound and left alone, his own body becomes the tormentor. Exhaustion tugs his head down, piercing flesh, speaking or swallowing drives spikes deeper. Sleep? Impossible, the slightest nod jolts him awake in agony. Engraved with a bureau, I recant, it tempts constantly, one word ends it, but at the soul's cost. This is psychological warfare, sleep deprivation, isolation, endless slow pain eroding will. Days blur into torment. Diego hallucinates his daughter's faces. Modern experts see it as early psyops, akin to today's interrogation tactics. He holds out, murmuring faith, but cracks form. Next, the garrucha, or strappado. Hands tied behind, rope through a ceiling pulley, Diego's hoisted off the ground. His weight twists shoulders unnaturally, nerves screaming. Minutes in, joints strain toward dislocation. Then the drop, lifted high, released to fall, jerking to a halt. The impact tears ligaments, witnesses hear pops like gunfire. Weights on ankles amplify force, turning him into a pendulum of pain. Sessions last under an hour, but damages lifelong numb arms, chronic agony. The friar questions calmly, "Do you Judaize?" Name accomplices. Diego dangles, vision blurring, pain a white-hot storm. Confession tempts, but he clings to truth. Diego's defiance earns the potro, the Spanish rack. Laid on a wooden frame, wrists and ankles roped to rollers. As they turn, his body stretches, joints pop, cartilage rips, ligaments snap. Ropes twist into flesh, cutting to bone on arms and legs. The forehead rope was abandoned, it bulged eyes from sockets. Sounds of tearing echo, notaries record screens verbatim. Before use, prisoners witness others on it, the taruco, anticipation is torture. One man confessed outside the door, hearing the cracks. Most common method, it crippled thousands, permanent limps, useless limbs. Diego feels his skeleton unravel, each crank a new hell. Confess, the friar urges. He names nothing, vomiting from pain. Waterboarding, the taka, follows. Strapped head down on a trestle, cords biting limbs. Cloth stuffed in mouth, water poured slowly. It soaks in, blocking airways, triggering drowning panic. Lungs spasm, body convulses in simulated death. Up to 8 quarts per session, vomiting burns throat. No marks left, merciful in records. Physicians halt if death nears, resuming later. Diego chokes, certain each breath is last. Cloth lifts, he gasps, only for repetition. Inquisitors log it routinely, like paperwork. He endures, mind fracturing, but silence holds. The Inquisition's restraint? A facade for calculated cruelty. Modern echoes in CIA manuals chill us, torture evolves, never dies. Pushed further, Diego faces the Spanish donkey, a wedge-shaped beam, sharp edge up. Stripped, he's straddled atop, weight-crushing sensitive flesh between legs. Hands bound, feet dangle, no relief. Weights added to ankles 5, 10, 50 pounds drive the edge deeper, compressing nerves, slicing circulation. Pain builds from burn to feeling halved alive. Hours pass, tissue mangles, permanent damage likely. Even other torturers deemed it extreme. Not for info, but total surrender. Diego screams, vision spotting black, but names no one. The auto de fe looms as finale, not torture, but execution. Public square packed, nobles on platforms, vendors hawking treats. Condemned in San Benitos, green candles in hand, paraded amid chants. Recanters garrote mercifully, resistors burned alive on green wood pyres. Smoke chokes first, flames slow roast for 30 to 40 minutes. Crowds cheer, it's spectacle. Diego imagines flames licking his skin, family watching in horror. But this is culmination, learned helplessness. Each method teaches resistance futility, fork denies rest, strappado breaks limbs, rack shreds body, waterboard mimics death, donkey annihilates will. Confessions pour, often false, impossible feats admitted. Truth irrelevant, control absolute. The Inquisition bureaucratized evil, guidelines limited sessions, loopholed, physicians preserved life for more pain, notaries detailed horrors. Educated men did this, believing it godly. What sets the Inquisition apart? Not savagery, but system. operated 356 years, charging 150,000, executing 3,000 to 5,000. But torture hit thousands more, shattering families. Rules governed 1-hour limits, evaded by new sessions, inquisitor approvals, verbatim records. Archives in Seville hold thousands of pages, screens noted like expenses. Wood costs for stakes, executioner fees, all budgeted. Ordinary men staffed it, friars dining post-rack, debating methods like tools. This institutionalizes horror, making monsters mundane. Diego's tale exemplifies, arrested on whispers, no rights, escalated through 8 hells. His property seized, Isabel destitute, children marked. Fear policed society, neighbors spied, silence reigned. The methods order mattered, start psychological, build physical, end fatal. San Benito ruins reputation, flogging warns, Fork erodes mind, Strapato dislocates, Potro stretches, Taka drowns, Donkey crushes, burning erases. Each previews worse, fostering helplessness. Prisoners stopped fighting, confessing absurdities. The Inquisition aimed at souls, but crushed bodies. Historians like Henry Kamen revise myths, less deadly than secular courts, but brutality real. Black legend exaggerated, yet records confirm refinements. Diego, if surviving, limbs home broken, family scattered. But many didn't. This wasn't frenzy, it was policy. And policies persist. Delve deeper, the Inquisition mastered minds. Heretic's fork isn't just pain, it's choice, recant or suffer self-inflicted wounds. Sleep deprivation mimics madness, breaking resolve without scars. Strapato's drops? Auditory terror for waiting prisoners. Rax Tarocco shows victims first, screens extracting confessions vicariously. Waterboarding's genius, death's certainty, repeatable. No visible harm, yet lungs scar, psyche shatters. Spanish donkey targets vulnerability, weight symbolizing added guilt. Auto-da-fe weaponizes community, shame eternal. This escalation isn't random, manuals prescribed it. Physicians ensured survival for trials, not compassion. Confessions, often coerced fantasies, filled ledgers. Diego hallucinates under fork, shoulders pop on Strapato, body rips on Potro. Each step whispers, give in. Learned helplessness, after inescapable pain, escape ignored even if possible. Modern psych applies here, torture's legacy in Gitmo, Abu Ghraib. San Benito echoes perp walks, Taka, enhanced interrogation. Names change, principles don't. Institutions justify pain for greater good. The friar's calm voice amid screams? Detached professionalism. Inquisitors, educated clergy, saw heretics as threats to Christendom. Anti-Jewish roots, post-1492 expulsions, conversos hunted. Diego's grandparents converted, habits lingered innocently. But Inquisition smelled heresy. Neighbor's motive? Debt erasure via seizure. Anonymity bred betrayal. This web ensnared Andalusia, fear a daily chain. The method's refinements horrify. Flogging's rods bundle for maximum tear, Strapato weights up to 100 pounds, turning drops fatal-like. Potro ropes cut bone deep, Taka's 8 quarts induce near asphyxiation. Donkey sessions lasted days, nerves deadened forever. Burning's greenwood prolonged agony, smoke a prelude to roast. Spectators toasted, children learned intolerance. But scale, not millions, as myths claim. 150,000 trials, mostly reconciliations, penances, not death. Yet torture's 2% scarred deeply. Archives reveal circumventions, suspended sessions resumed daily. Notary's indifference chills, pleas transcribed blandly. Diego's imagined ordeal, corridor dread, chamber smells of chemicals, perhaps vinegar for revival. Friar promises salvation via pain. He confesses nothing, but body betrays, shoulders useless, back scarred. If released, he's pariah. Many weren't. Inquisition ended 1834, but ideas linger. Rack became stress positions, fork, sensory deprivation. Bureaucracy enables, permission structures sanitize evil. Ordinary folks execute, believing duty. Warning, power unchecked breeds this. In democracies, watch policies echoing control. Diego's wife waits, table set, door silent. House seized, life upended. That's total war on belief. The 8 methods? Not relics, blueprints for when faith or ideology demands conformity. Remember, worst horrors come systematized, not spontaneous. Zoom in on victims, mostly conversos like Diego, accused of secret Judaism. Women tortured, 2 racks adjusted for frailty. Children sometimes witnessed, inheriting trauma. Communities fractured, trust evaporated. Economic angle, seizures funded operations, incentivizing accusations. Piety masked greed. Methods evolved, early chaos refined by 1500s manuals. Physicians' role ironic, prolonged suffering for fair trials. Confessions read at auto da fe, validating spectacle. Diego's potential fate, after donkey, if unyielding, pyre awaits. Greenwood smokes thickly, garrote for mercy if recanting last minute. But pride or faith holds some silent. Burns take half hour, crowds note endurance as defiance or divine judgment. Post-execution, bones crushed, ashes scattered, no grave. Family branded, marriages impossible. This erases lineages. Historians debate, black legend, Protestant propaganda, inflated numbers. Yet Spanish archives confirm brutality's core. Edward Peters notes Taka's routine, Henry Charles Lea details strappado sounds. Modern parallels unsettle, waterboarding in War on Terror, justified similarly. Institutions decide acceptable pain. Diego represents everyman merchant, father, snared by whispers. His story humanizes statistics. Imagine his daughter's confusion, daddy gone, home taken. Inquisition's reach, beyond individual, into society. Fear self-policed, report surged. This controls pinnacle. As script ends, ponder, which method breaks you? San Benito's shame? Taka's drown? All designed for that. 5 centuries on, the Spanish Inquisition synonymizes ultimate cruelty. Not for scale, smaller than witch hunts, but method. 8 tortures, bureaucratized, reveal humanity's dark capacity when institutionalized. Diego's corridor walk? Universal dread of unchecked power. We tell these stories to remember evil thrives in systems, not just madmen. Subscribe for more on history's machineries of control. Comment, what's the worst method? Share to dispel myths, Inquisition no comedy sketch. Instruments museum dusted, but ideas in memos worldwide. Rack to rendition, auto da fe to public shaming. Principle endures, destroyed bodies to rule minds. Combat with vigilance, question authority, protect rights. Diego's legacy, warning against complacency. His family? Scattered, but resilient humanity persists. End the cycle.